Okay, let's get started. Hi, I'm Bill. Welcome. The purpose of this video is a couple of people asked me if I could do a video on how I build out a mini computer to run N.I.N.A. So that's what I hope to share with you at a high level in this video. But it also happens to be decision day for me, and whether or not I'm going to do my trip for February. And I have this site reserved out at Alamo Lake State Park, Site 27, from February 10th through, I think I'm scheduled to leave the park on the morning of the 16th. So I have to make my decision today if I'm going to go. I would, today's actually a Tuesday, so I would actually start my trip on Thursday, take 2 nights to get there. Being retired, I have the time. I have the places I like to stop at along the way, and that way when I get into the site at Alamo Lake State Park, I won't be too tired or fatigued these days. You know, I'm an old guy. So have to make that decision. I'll make that decision later today. But let's go back to what this video is about. And I have been using a B-Link U59 mini computer since I think April of 2022. It's been a great performer, worked very well for me. But recently, when I was doing some short exposures on my last trip to Alamo Lake State Park shooting M42, it was a little bit sluggish, and the B-Link U59. So I've purchased a new computer, which I'm going to build out, and it's the B-Link with a Ryzen 7 and 16 gigs of RAM. And I want to thank those people that reached out to me to tip me off that there was another option available to me that for a little bit more money I could have gotten essentially the same box with 32 gigs of memory. I was already at the cap. I was above the cap on my budget set by my CFO, so I went ahead and just went with this one. And if I have to increase the RAM down the road, I will. Yeah, I lost out a little bit, but again, thank you for pointing that out to me. Also, let's start with what we want to capture. So let me go into the new build and let me bring this up. And so what I did is, since I was running N.I.N.A, nighttime imaging and astronomy on the older B-Link U59, I wanted to make sure I captured everything that I needed. And if you're new to N.I.N.A, oftentimes you may have plugins that provide certain services, and you may need a app key or a user key or an API key. So I went through and did an inventory of what things I would need to get off the B-Link U59 and migrate over to the new Ryzen 7 B-Link. So I capture that information in another document. So I have this information here. I also wanted to make sure I copied over my templates and targets and other related information, N.I.N.A specific. And part of that is the profiles. So I've captured the profiles, and I wanted to make sure I understood which N.I.N.A plugins I was running. And also, since I've started to use Tom Palmer's Target Scheduler plugin, it creates certain databases. So, you know, again, I have the B-Link U59. It's fully operational. I'll carry it with me in the field, and I can easily go back onto this device and capture what I need. And another thing I want to point out quickly is when I first purchased the mini computer, the B-Link U59, I ran into a situation, and I didn't really have a display and a keyboard with me and a mouse out in the field, and I ran into an issue, and it was quite a challenge. So a recommendation, if you're new to using a mini computer, you might want to carry, and you're a field traveler, a traveler like me, you might want to carry with you a small display and a keyboard and a mouse. And it's also, I used those items when I took the new B-Link Ryzen 7 out of the box. I had those items available to plug in so that I can get the initial setup of the Ryzen 7 to where I could get it onto the network. Now I have it on the network, and I'm using remote desktop connection to connect to it. A couple things I want to point out, though, that you want to be aware of if you're new to this. If we go into Control Panel, there are some settings in your power options, such as that are set so that the computer will hibernate after a period of time. You don't want that. You want to set it to never. So I went in and I scrubbed those settings. If you need specific information on how to do that, drop me a comment and I'll make sure that I get that information to you. And then also under systems, allowing remote access. The default is don't allow remote access to the computers. The other thing I didn't do was create a Microsoft account like Bill_Poplawski at whatever, hotmail.com or whatever I was using at the time. I have just a user-specific BPOP. That's the only account on the new box. And that's the way I prefer to run. So just wanted to call out that if you try to set remote access first without scrubbing your power settings, you may get an error message saying, beware. If the computer hibernates, you won't be able to remote access into it. So call that out. All right, so let's kind of go back in here. And so I've kind of gone over what I wanted to capture, and where I have that captured is I just used thumb drive, put it on the B link, robocopy there. For example, here are the SQL databases that Target Scheduler creates, so I want to make sure I port that over. And then if you're a N.I.N.A user, you know that it's profile driven. If you're not a N.I.N.A user, well, there are profiles that capture your configuration and all your settings in N.I.N.A, and you really want to be backing those up on a regular basis. And so this is just a copy of what was current on the U59, the B-Link U59. So again, I can always go back there if I had to. So I want to drop these in the appropriate directory, N.I.N.A directory. And other things I did was I captured some screenshots, and if I had to stare and glare if there was some issue with dropping the profiles on the new build or whatever, I had a visual document that I could look at and tweak little settings and everything. So everybody has their own way of doing things. I'm a little bit paranoid when I do stuff. All right, so basically, the computer's ready to go, and I'm ready to start downloading the software that I'm going to need to use N.I.N.A for my imaging purposes. I've gone through Windows Update, make sure that's all been taken care of and everything, so we're good there. So let's go back in here and let me turn off my my picture here. And so what I've done is basically just laid out. So this is what I did pre-install, what I needed to capture. And now here are the things and the order I'm going to download them in. Again, I don't know if you have to follow a specific order, but this is the way I think about it. So the first thing I will download is the ASCOM platform. Current one appears to be 6.6 SP2. So once I have that downloaded, then I'll download EQ ASCOM. I'll download that. I'll put these links in the video description so they're available to you. Then now we're kind of getting into equipment specific. I use the Pegasus Astro Pocket Power Box Advanced. So what is used to manage that box these days is called the Unity platform, Pegasus Astro Unity platform. So I will download that. What you may be using, you'll need to download accordingly. And then we get into downloading N.I.N.A related or specific software. I'm going to use version 3.0 beta 0.14. I've been using the beta 3.0. I've been hanging out on the Discord, N.I.N.A Discord server. It appears very stable. I'm not seeing people reporting a lot of issues or whatever. All my plugins have been upgraded to run with version 3.0, so I'm good there. And then in addition to the initial software, I'll download a couple of miscellaneous things and make sure they wind up with in the right directory, and that the correct directory path is identified in the N.I.N.A configuration. For plate solving, I'll use ASTAP, and so I will download the appropriate software from the ASTAP page. Now, the last time, well, I guess I built out the Eagle 5S, and I had to go through all these steps as well. So, but hopefully I'm giving you a high-level view, and if I missed something, I apologize. Then I will download PhD2 to handle my guiding needs. And then I will download several things from the ZWO ASI Download Center. Again, this is where you may be using Player One or QHY or CCD QHY or whatever, so you'll have to download the appropriate drivers for the equipment that you're using. And then I will download the Giotto software package, since I'm using the PrimaLuce Lab Giotto flat field light panel. And I recently added to my RedCat 51 a rotator, so I'll go to the WandererAstro site, and I believe last time I downloaded this Wanderer Rotators all-in-one paren 1. The reason they have paren 1 and paren 2, I guess some people run two rotators or something, and you need to have a certain order or something. So this is basically what I'll download. Again, ASCOM, EQMOD, Pegasus Astro Unity, since I have a Pegasus Astro Pocket Power Box Advance. Then I'll download N.I.N.A. And once I have N.I.N.A downloaded, then I will drop my templates and my sequences and my profiles and plug-in related information and the target scheduler databases into the appropriate places within N.I.N.A. And then I will make sure that I hook up my RedCat 51 and all the devices, the EAF, the filter wheel, the Giotto flat panel, to make sure that all the appropriate drivers have been put in place and that everything is functioning. So I'll do that before I head out on Thursday for my trip. And that also, again, since sometimes I scatter things around in my work area here, this will make sure that I have all the right cables and everything, so I don't leave the house missing a cable or something. And then ASTAP, I may download PlateSolve 2. Maybe they have PlateSolve 3 version 3 out now, so I'll take a look at that. Again, PhD2. One of the reasons I moved off the ASI Air platform was the level of information that the whole app PhD2 can provide versus what's available through the ASI Air. And then my equipment specific drivers, ASI, PrimaLuce Lab, and WandererAstro. So Hopefully that gave you a view at a high level. What it's like if you're new. Maybe you're thinking about moving off of an ASI Air platform to N.I.N.A. This will give you some idea of what you're going to have to download to make everything work. Again, it all comes down to hooking everything up after you've dropped everything on your mini computer that you think you need to make sure that you test everything out well in advance of your first attempt to image. It's generally a good idea. So hopefully this has helped you out. Other than that, if you found this information helpful or you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. Hopefully you're looking at some good weather for this kind of new moon period. I'm going to miss the official new moon, but I'll be out there on the 10th, and there won't be that much moon, and I can work around that given the targets that I have in the queue that I want to image. Thank you for dropping into the channel. See you next time.